that sounds about right. Yeah, like #1 on the leaderboards, #1 out of his group Awake, and we see that our file names today are kind of poking fun at TGH. We have literally impossible versus sub 30 on the file names here. Initially, I couldn't really tell. Now, luckily, someone in chat pointed out that Skyrage's name was just like literally impossible without the vowels. I would have just assumed that was the Welsh word for mountain. But yeah, we should be getting started here pretty shortly. So yeah, hang tight. This is going to be a fun race. All right, so the prologue, all runners will kind of handle this the same way. They're just going to be all the way through this. And, you're kind of jumping just to and you're jumping partially because it's fun to just hit the button and just kind of spam jump, but you're also jumping because it actually saves time to do this. Each little bunny hop that these runners are doing, that saves about 2 frames. So if you're jumping 30 times through the prologue, that's going to save you at least a second if you're jumping efficiently. Yeah, both runners should be out of prologue. It's a simple, short, sweet chapter. They're going to be told they can do this, which is a nice thing to see. Sometimes you forget. Okay, thanks to Birdo Prey for noting that I was out of sync. So yeah, now we're in chapter 1, and hopefully you've been able to see that these runners have just kind of been, kind of bouncing all around, doing the wall bounces, doing the, doing the hyper dashes. Yeah, chapter 1 is pretty short, pretty simple. It's going to be about 2 minutes, even if you're new to this game. Yeah, both runners seem to be handling this pretty well. TGH is just a little bit ahead of the Skyrage here. So one thing that we are going to note here is that Celeste uses an in-game timer to score the matches, and Skyrage gets out of there with 206, TGH with 205. So the in-game timer that you're going to see in the middle of the cassette tapes there, that's what we're going to use to determine who wins the match. So whoever has a lower in-game time at the end will be the winner of this match. But yeah, chapter 1. Pretty simple stuff, pretty short. There were a couple mistakes here and there, but ultimately that's not really going to set you back a meaningful amount. Okay, so now we're in chapter 2, Old Site. So chapter 2, you've seen that we've already activated the dream blocks. So the dream blocks are this mechanic that let us infinitely dash, and they're a pretty fun mechanic. And one thing that you might see is that we're able to jump out of the dream blocks. You might see a little bit more advanced tech when the dream blocks return later on in the game. Yeah, and now we're in the battle line chase sequence. So battle line chase it's kind of like the first quote-unquote boss fight of the game, where basically a shadow version of ourselves is going to be following us around and mimicking our movements on a 3-second delay. And basically we just have to be routing out our movements so that we are not only moving fast but also moving in a way that we avoid battle line, like the Skyrage kind of ducking under the battle lines there. And meanwhile, TGH doing pretty good, shaking off some of the rust from the, well, not rust, I mean, obviously they got a 29.55 yesterday, but yeah, just kind of shaking off some of the tournament nerves that can happen to anyone, and yeah, now they're just in the Awake section, where Skyrage is joining them, and yeah, so Awake is a section where, there's not really anything that can realistically kill you, so you just have to be moving through these screens as fast as possible. We have a lot of uneven terrain here, so something that you're seeing TGH doing is, they're just hyperdashing, but they're not just using their hyperdash. They're also just doing a short, simple bunny hop from time to time, so that they're able to clear gaps, or they're able to clear some of the uneven terrain, but they're also still with their momentum. Yeah, they're just trying to avoid corners, avoid those springs like you just saw Skyrage hit, and yeah, that's that's something that's going to happen when you're grinding out the game for 29.55. You're going to like clear your run of like all those tiny little mistakes. Like Sky, that didn't really set them back like any meaningful amount, but you know, when you're going for a time like TJ's, you're going to need to not hit that spring. Like any time save that you can eliminate, you're going to try to eliminate. Okay, so we're in Chapter 3 now, and Chapter 3 is another place where you can kind of tell a more experienced runner from someone who, you know, maybe less experienced. Yeah, Celeste Resort is all about cycles and being able to, like, you know, not just like move quickly through those cycles, but also being able to like move efficiently. Okay, I really apologize for that brief moment of silence there. Hopefully we're back. So yeah, TGH is moving through the huge mess maze right now, and we're going to be seeing Skyrage come up on that, where, you know, that maze is just like all about like kind of not getting tripped up again. Like, you know, it's another screen where you can't die, so you're just trying to like not make mistakes that will cost you like, you know, even a second there. Just a quick switch to TJH's audio, because I would expect them to be the remainder of the race, barring any weirdness. So yeah, so Celeste Resort, like we've kind of been seeing all throughout that, we're just trying to like, you know, move through these cycles. So these cycles are predictable. Like there's no RNG in this game, so we always know how these dust bunnies are going to be moving. So just a matter of like, you know, trusting that we're going to be able to like through these stages and like not get hit by those dust bunnies. Yeah, and an interesting about this section is that, yeah, so an interesting about this section, commentator bias, yeah, sure. So interesting thing about this section is that you can take alternate routes through this. Like we take a specific route because it puts us like closest to Oshiro so that we can trigger cutscene pretty early. Yeah, so you can kind of see on Skyrage's screen, so they are clearing out books, and once they hit the switch, they're going to be clearing out, like all the books will be gone, and we'll just be left with these purple towels. So that kind of makes the platforming harder. But again, you know, we're trying to speedrun this game efficiently, so a lot of these runners will kind of memorize this one specific pass through the level. So yeah, it's not going to be a problem. Skyrage should be able to get through this pretty neatly. And yeah, TGH in the elevator shaft portion of Celeste Resort, again, like making real quick work in these, like, you know, that little wall bounces. Get in this room, they're just going to be doing this, like, yeah, there's just like a lot of things that they're doing that, like, you know, it all looks really cool and it all looks very difficult, but they're just making it look easy. Like, you know, very few problems so far in Resort. I feel kind of responsible for that one. Yeah, just like a minor slip, just like trying to move a little bit too fast, and just like a bit of a missed input kind of sent them into that pool of dust bunnies there, but they recovered, they're through, and they're going to be starting in the Oshiro section. So, you know, now in addition to dust bunny cycles, we're also dealing with Oshiro cycles. Oshiro just like tracking our vertical position, and oh yeah, TGH with the immediate recognition that he was going to hit that that, like, you know, mound of dust bunnies there, and just like going for retry, not even bothering to, like, you know, wait for the death animation, just saying, nope, not going to get this. So yeah, very good awareness on their part. You know, just dying as fast as possible. That's something that you're going to have to do if you want to be successful in Celeste. Just like knowing that you're going to make mistakes and just being able to recover from them quickly. Because yeah, and you can see TGH has 3 screens behind him at this point. Going to be 4 really soon. Alright, meanwhile, Skyrage is about to start their Oshiro fight as TGH takes a death really late in the Sunrise room. So that death can be kind of brutal, not just because, like, you know, and that's, you know, a multi-second time on a death cycle. And the death cycle in that room, you know, it's different from the cycle that you get when you first enter the room, and it's a little bit slower. But again, TGH, veteran runner, he knows how to handle the cycles, and they are out of Celestial Resort. Alright, so Skyrage getting through the last couple rooms of the Oshiro chase. Oh, nice recovery! Yo, Skyrage! Yeah, it takes a really quick death, but again, that's fair. You know, that may have been more or less intentional, just to, like, get you on the death cycle where, like, if, like, death cycle is still, like, a slower cycle, but it's also easier to practice. But yeah, that was, like, a really, you know, I'm gonna call that intended. That was a very cool intended save there. Alright, meanwhile, TGH, as Skyrage finishes Celestial Resort, is moving pretty nicely through Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is another fairly short, and it's a deceptively simple chapter, I would say. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with Golden Ridge. Like, you know, there's a lot of tiny little skips that, like, you know, may save, like, you know, 2-3 seconds, but if you fail any of these skips, it costs, like, you know, 8 to 10 seconds. Like this auto-scroller skip that I would have to imagine that we're going to be seeing TGH set up here. But yeah, not even a problem. Even gets like one of the faster setups. Yeah, just a nice little wave dash and something like that. And yeah, as Chad is pointing out, this match is still... This is a relatively lopsided match, but Skyrage is sitting on a 38-37, they said. And, you know, that's still a really high-level PB. I think they're, like, somewhere in the mid-70s on the leaderboards. And if you can, like, look at something that you've done and you can say that only, like, you know, 75 people are better at it than you, that's really impressive. Like, 75 people in the whole world. So, yeah, Skyrage is still, like, a really talented runner. It's just that, you know, luck of the draw. Yeah, definitely stumped. Yeah, and, you know, even if Skyrage loses today, this is a double elimination tournament, so Skyrage will still be in our lower bracket, and they'll still be able to salvage their tournament. So, yeah, a loss here is not the end of the road for Skyrage. Yeah, or I should say, this isn't the end of the old trail for Skyrage. So, TGH in the Harsh Wind section. So, Harsh Wind is all about... So with the Harsh Wind section, so we've had wind all throughout Golden Ridge that's kind of been pushing us back, and we've been using dash to like kind of counteract that effect and, you know, moving quickly. That's very solid room from TGH there. But now the wind is forcing us back to the point that we can't walk. Now, again, we weren't walking anyway, but now like the only way that we have to move through these rooms is dashing. And oh, nice snowball dodge. Okay, so the number one reason that's impressive is because he only had like a split second to react to that. Like the closer, so snowballs spawn in from the right side of the screen and they will just fly at you. And yeah, they track your vertical position like Oshiro, but unlike Oshiro, they give you no warning. They just come in, they fly at you, and the closer you are to that end of the screen, so TGH being able to like see that snowball and just like jump out of the way that quickly, jeez, y'all. Yeah, Skyrage in the last room of this particular portion, and again, taking a retry, realizing that there was no saving it. Yeah, not even opting to go there, which would have just been slower than just finishing up this room. They'll be starting off on their Harsh Wind section as TGH in the Mirror Temple, and Mirror Temple is definitely like a weird chapter. Like it's kind of divided into two halves. There's this first half where there's a bunch of like cool movement, cool skips, and you know we just saw that like little wave dash off the dash block that kind of saved you a trip through 2 rooms. Yeah, Tej is going to be... Oh, doesn't quite get... So yeah, he was setting up to... So these dash blocks, you just saw there, they move when you dash. And if you jump off a dash... Moving, you're able to move with really incredible speed. And there's a certain skip in that room where if you dash, if you like, jump off that block at the right time, you're able to not only fly through that room, but like fly through the next room and just like skip a cycle with the dash block. But TGH kind of flubbing it a little bit and missing movement. But again, it's no issue. Like they're already off, like done with the first part of Mirror Temple, and they're going to be moving into the unraveling section as Skyrage. Yeah, on the last screen of Golden Ridge. Yeah, and they're out of there with the sub-4 Golden Ridge, which is really impressive. All right, so TGH over here in the unraveling section. So we've already seen the Seekers kind of introduced to us in this dream sequence, and now they're going to be out in full force here. Now Seekers they're AI controlled, and they kind of like charge at us. So they'll lock onto us and they'll charge at us, but we are able to kind of use them to kind of help us out from time to time, like with that really sick Ultra Dash strat to like knock that Seeker into the block, because Seekers can activate the key coins like you saw again there, and the much more simple strat to and TJ knocking that Seeker into that particular corner of the screen so that they will trigger that coin block or key coin to open up that door. Yeah, just moving way too fast for me to even describe like what he's doing, as Skyrage is again, they're making pretty quality time through Mirror Temple here so far, it seems like. Alright, so TGH going to be setting up for a search skip here. Yeah, making it look easy, even getting like a pretty fast setup for the search skip. So playing casually, you have to. So Mirror Temple is this giant maze, and basically like you can kind of get lost in here for time after time, and like looking for the exits. And a lot of these skips save you a ton of time that you would otherwise have to spend looking for keys. Like that saves you about like 2 minutes, give or take. Like depending on like how optimally you're able to move through the game. Yeah, so TGH is now in the Theo rescue section. Yeah, so Theo, basically we can't dash while we're holding him, so what we have to do is we have to create momentum. So we have to throw Theo, create momentum with like a hyper dash, or in TGH just here or there, and slow down, dude. I'm trying to talk about what you're doing. Yeah, again, like there's stuff that TGH is doing that's like absurdly difficult, and that only people that are on that level, like people who are like top 10 or top 5 on the leaderboards are going to be going for. Yeah, that was a Theo section. Yeah, usually there's like a lot of stuff in the Seeker section that you can see Skyrage going through right now that can go really wrong because the Seekers can be relatively unpredictable. But like if you can move fast enough to just kind of mitigate what the Seekers can do, like TGH just did, like all the power to you. Alright, so TGH starting Reflection as Skyrage is in one of the more pivotal screens of the Mirror Temple. And yeah, that Seeker just kind of bumbled off somewhere. I don't know what it was doing, but it wasn't chasing after Madeline. So yeah, Skyrage getting through that screen, and they'll be setting up their own search skip, and TGH in Reflection. There's a lot of feathers. Feathers are weird. They move in 360 degrees as opposed to Madeline's normal 8-way movements, so you kind of have to like adjust yourself to new controls. A lot of players, I think TGH is one of them, if they're using a controller with both D-pad and analog stick, they will switch to analog stick for feathers just so they have like the full range of motion. Because like when you're moving with the feather, you lose speed with the feather for every 15 degrees that you turn. Yeah, and feathers also move a little bit slowly, and because feathers are like so difficult to control, there is always a chance that you can just like inadvertently knock yourself into some spikes. But TGH have no issue with this, as Skyrage is going to be going into their own Theo section, and you will see how, you know, a talented player will handle this section normally. Yeah, Skyrage even getting a mid-air dash, just like, you know, again, keeping momentum from downtown gets that block. Very nice throw there. And TGH getting through these sections, getting through like a sort of mazy part of Reflection. Yeah, it's just like a lot of these crush blocks, which we affectionately call Kevin blocks. A lot of these bumpers, which can be kind of weird to navigate from time to time. Oh, Skyrage. Just, yeah, mistiming that a little bit. I think they got like I think they kind of got jumped on the secret when they didn't quite mean to. And yeah, Madeline just kind of fell into the spike. There wasn't really any way that they could recover from that. Yeah, they get through that on the second try, which is nice to see. And TGH in this screen with the, there's a dev intended skip here. And TGH, because he's fast falling, so when you hold down while Madeline is in free fall, you're able to fall just a little bit quicker, and that may save, like, you know, maybe half a second fast falling through those spikes, and it's going to cost you an incredible amount of time if you like kind of mess up while you're falling and you just run into those spikes. But again, TGH, that's something that he probably practices pretty routinely and not really having any issue with that kind of dev intended shortcut. Gets a battle line boost. Just, yeah, jumping off that Kevin block with the dash at just exactly the right time to like fly through the part of that auto-scroll screen and fly through that other part of the screen to just kind of knock into battle line as fast as possible. Alright, meanwhile, Skyrage in the last part of Mirror Temple. Yeah, trying to time their dashes so that they're counteracting these pulsing waves that this eyeball sends for whatever reason. Throws Theo into the eyeball. Yeah, and they're going to be through to Reflection. Yeah, so TGH is in the battle line fight now, which is the first, like, you know, honest to goodness fight in this game. And this is like a really cool fight because, like, it actually uses platforming mechanics. Like, I don't know how many platformers I played where the boss fights are just like, hey, knock into the boss and just wait 2 minutes and knock into the boss again. Like, now you're actually, like, you know, still platforming while knocking into the boss. And, you know, again, you're just kind of like floating through. There's a lot of sections where you're trying to fall, so a lot of what runners are going to be trying to do are, we're just trying to get back to the ground as fast as possible, because all the speed tech that we do, like the hyper dashes and all that is kind of based on our interactions with the ground. And again, here on this screen, you're going to see TGH fast fall, which you can identify because Madeline's body will stretch out a little bit vertically. The hyper dash on that block to just kind of like take a shortcut through some of these spikes, and yeah, just really cool stuff all the way through. Yeah. Alright, so now we're in the remix part of the battle line fight for TGH as Skyrage is getting through the last part of the hollow section. I can't remember what the invisible sections are called. That doesn't matter. Anyway, so yeah, Skyrage making pretty decent time through Reflection so far, which is just doing the TGH stuff right now. Alright, so last screen of the battle line fight. Basically, you just have to be avoiding battle line's lasers and all that, and, you know, just try to avoid any major mistake, because a death here can be super costly, but, you know, you don't need to tell TGH not to make mistakes. He's just going to do his thing. Alright, so he defeats battle line, and now he's rewarded with a level up, and they get their double dash. And, you know, we're seeing the double dash used here to pretty decent effect in this vertical section. Yeah, but yeah, that's going to be used pretty much in the summit, where the last level of the game, and also the longest level of the game, so the most important level in the game, because a lot of things can tend to go wrong. Meanwhile, Skyrage is making decent time through the through the mazy part of Reflection. All right, so we can already see on TGH's side that, you know, now the level design is kind of equipped so that you have 2 dashes. So we're going to be revisiting every chapter in the game, starting with Reflection here, and we're going to go through these games where we're going to see a lot of screens without floors, like this one that TGH is on. And you know, it's really cool from a level design, a speedrunning standpoint, because like after 6 chapters of just 1 dash, now you get 2 dashes, and it's just a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of fun stuff that you can do with your new double dash, like a lot of like new hyper dashes that you can do. Yeah, we're gonna see TGH just kind of like power through these first couple sections here. Like these sections, like they're not easy by any stretch of the imagination, but again, TGH just has the tools to make it look easy. Getting a reverse hyper dash off that zipper block. Yeah, so TGH clearing out this last part of the Chapter 1 remix, as Skyrage is in the only real swimming part of this video game, taking a couple deaths here, and this is like the thing that can really get you about Reflection. Yeah, it just involves a lot of really precise movement that you're not really used to, like all the feathers in that one swimming section. Like this, like the danger about the water section is that that's the only thing like it in the game. So let's practice that pretty religiously. That's the only time that you're going to encounter swimming is when you're doing a run. So yeah, sometimes you just miss an input and you and you swim into some spikes, and you just feel bad about it. But again, Skyrage, they just got to recover from it and just continue playing their game. And yeah, they're in the battle line fight now, and it should be done within pretty short order here. All right, meanwhile, TGH, before I even have a chance to reintroduce the Dream Blocks, they're through this section. They probably did some hyper dash without a Dream Block, which is absurdly precise tech. But yeah, it's no matter. They're on to 1500, which 1500 has a reputation as a run color, and it's well deserved. There's a couple rooms in here that are super long and they're super tight. Just barely avoids getting nicked by that one moving dust bunny. So yeah, we're coming up into the first of the longer rooms here. See how they handle it. Yeah, and you kind of saw that they first walked over to a gap, and then they just kind of fell normally onto a gap. Like so TGH is aware that there's no real way to speed up those sections. So yeah, just taking a little bit of a walk and just kind of taking it slow because there's nothing else to do. Meanwhile, they got through the triple ultra dash room without a problem. They said hi to the dog. They're about to leave 1500. 1500 is evidently not a run killer. It's just a part of the run, I guess. Alright. So Skyrage looks to be a couple screens away from defeating Battle Line as TGH is in the Ridge remix. Yeah, they picked up the Strawberry because we had to take this certain route because, usually it's reserved for like a little secret Strawberry, but you kind of take it because it's faster. They say goodbye to the Snowballs. Yeah, good recovery there. Yeah, kind of swagging out on the first part of the auto scroller, which you can't realistically skip. Yeah, dealing with the wind pushing them forward pretty nicely. Oh, and I was wrong about where Skyrage was in the battle line fight. They're in the remix portion here, I guess. So apologies for that. Alright. Yeah, so TGH about to clear the Golden Ridge remix, and you can see another tiny little optimization that they're doing and that we're probably going to see Skyrage doing, where when battle line throws you, typically he throws you with a great arc. But if we dash as soon as Battleline throws us, we can cancel that little arc animation, and we can just like continue moving as fast as possible. So that, you know, it only saves a couple of seconds on screen, but it's a free couple seconds, so you're going to take it. Less free are some of the skips in 2500, which 2500 is like one of the coolest looking chapters. Like, a tiny little dash off that dash block to just get tremendous momentum. Oh, yikes. Trying for the double wave dash there. Running into the spikes a couple times. They're timing just a little bit off. Yeah, gets it on the third try, which is still pretty good. You know, faster than doing it casually, and I don't even know the casual way to do that room anymore. And yeah, they get T-skip first try. They recovered. They know mistakes happen, and you know, this is a race, and they just got to move on as quickly as they can. Look at that. TGH is doing the thing as Skyrage finishes up Reflection. Skip the doors, or more accurately, skip the switches that retract pillars. I don't know why we call it door skip. They're not actually doors. Anyway, that's my gripe. So yeah, TGH in the last room at 2500, and yeah, this is just really solid work from TGH. Like, yeah, 2819 heading into 3000 meters. That's just really cool. So yeah, TGH at the end of the summit as Skyrage begins their final climb. So yeah, 3000 meters is the first part of summit that's like kind of original level design, where, you know, it's its own aesthetic, it's its own like platforming. So like the first part that we deal with is this downdraft section where we have the wind for, it's like the same harsh wind we know and love from Golden Ridge, except now it's forcing us downward instead of left or right. We're just like trying to dash as much as possible and wall bounce as much as possible to counteract the effects of the downdraft. Yeah, that was a pretty sick updraft from TGH. Yeah, didn't seem to have like any problem. And yeah, if you can make out what the flags are, I think we're on 19 right now. Feel free to count down in the chat. Oh, and just barely spring there. Yeah, like, yeah. So the updraft section that they're on, where now the gravity is forcing us upwards and everything's kind of floaty. This can be kind of tough to deal with, especially like when you're running, because like there's no real way to speed it up. So you're just trying to like go for really tiny optimizations, like, you know, like that hyper dash into like a couple dashes, just trying to get to that spring as fast as possible. But the peril in that is that sometimes you overshoot your target. But again, TGH recovered from that. Already cleared like, you know, 3-4 flags while I was talking. Yeah, aside from that one death on flag, like really clean updraft section, going through flag 6 where you just ride a feather into a cloud. And then you do an extra jump on the cloud for good luck with the last 5 flags, and you just move on. So gravity returns to normal, and this is just kind of like the last part of the run. And yeah, again, these flags, kind of like Golden Ridge, they're deceptively simple. Like, these kind of seem free, but again, like, given where you are in the run, like, you know, it's the end, you're just kind of trying to, like, you know, get the best time that you can. It can really kind of screw with your mind from time to time, as it kind of did with TGH on flag 3 there, just kind of knocking into some spikes. Yeah, TGH onto flag 1, and they're going to be finishing up with like a 31XX here, which is just a really solid time for a race. Like, that just speaks to like the consistency that TGH has with this game. Like, really impressive stuff all throughout. Get some GGs in the chat for TGH. They're going to be moving on through the winners bracket onto a matchup with a Star Cruncher. Alright, we're also going to be watching Skyrage finish out their run. Yeah, so Skyrage is going to be moving on into our lower bracket. So again, their tournament is not done by any stretch of the imagination. They will have a matchup against Blue Eye 95 coming up for them. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see where Skyrage can go from here. But yeah, this is like a really solid run that they're having. So, you know, make sure that you're cheering Skyrage on in the chat if they try to finish up what is definitely a solid run for them. Alright, so Skyrage in the last snowball room kind of fell through a little bit, but oh yikes! Yeah, that's what snowballs can do to you. Like, you kind of have your strat set up, you think you have it timed out just right, and then the snowball just kind of comes in and ruins your day, but yeah, they get through on the second try, picking up the strawberry for good measure. Always nice to see a little swagberry, making sure they collect the swagberry, which is always nice. Skyrage making pretty solid work of 2,000 meters here. Okay, and yeah, good recognition there. They didn't... I think they may have been going for, like, you know, kind of the... Oh. Yeah, taking a death at the end there, but yeah. Yeah, so that's the strat that they were going for, but, like, the first try that they had through this room, they kind of... I think they were able to recognize that they didn't quite have the height that they needed, so they opted to just, like, go for that dash crystal to refresh their dash and kind of go through a more casual route. But again, they got the actual strat the second time through, so yeah, really solid work from Skyrage. Oh, that depth right there was kind of the video game's fault. So there is a kind of weird property of this game where if you hit a corner in a specific 3-pixel window, you get what's called a corner boost, and that kind of like launches you forward with incredible speed. But Skyrage was not really expecting to get a corner boost right there, and they just couldn't react in time, and they had to take a death. So yeah, that was just a video game being weird. Like, Celeste is not unlike any other video game. Like, there's some weird stuff that can happen in this game, and that's just one example. Yeah, going for a P-skip, and they're going down to reset the room because it's easier to get those two kind of wall jumps when you're entering the room as opposed to like just kind of setting it up from within the room itself. Yeah, gets it on the third try. That's really good. Yeah, really good work from Skyrage. Alright, and looks like we are joined in the room by TGH. How you doing, TG?
Hey, what's going on? I'm doing okay.
Alright, so how do you feel about that run?
I was pretty unhappy with that run overall. I feel like I made a lot of really stupid mistakes, especially early on. I think if I had to put a culprit on it, I would say I probably wasn't very well prepared for this race, and it's my own fault because I thought the race was going to start at 9 today for some reason. I like forgot which time we scheduled it for, so I went to bed kind of late, expecting for a 9 o'clock race, and then checked it like right before I went to bed, like just to make sure. And then turns out it was at 5. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm getting 3 hours of sleep. My sleep schedule's a little messed up, in case anybody was curious. But yeah, I don't know, and I didn't have very much time to warm up, but it was okay, I guess, for what it was. I'm okay with it, I guess.
Yeah, 31:18. That seems pretty okay to me. I don't know about you, but yeah. But yeah, so you're gonna be moving on. I believe your next opponent is Star Cruncher. So are you looking forward to that race at all?
Yeah, for sure. gonna be interesting. You know, like all the bracket matches moving forward are gonna be pretty interesting for sure.
Right, yeah, definitely, yeah, and you're pretty poised to like kind of go through. Sorry, I kind of lost track of like the words I was gonna say there. But yeah, yeah, GDU. Good luck in your next couple matches. But yeah, you put on a really good show, even if you were like, even if you're saying that you're a little unprepared. Like, yeah, after
I appreciate it.
Yeah, after City, you were pretty solid.
Yeah, definitely. The second last screen in City wasn't very good. I probably should have just taken my medicine and not done the aggressive strat over and over. But yeah, like I think my hands just weren't quite warmed up enough for a strat like that early on. It's whatever.
Yeah, it happens, and you know, you just have to put it behind you and just focus on the next run.
Yeah, for sure. But GG's to the Skyrage as well for the race.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They're making pretty good time through Summit, it looks like. Yeah, getting through the 2 long flags on updraft, which is always nice to see, and yeah. Yeah, they're going to be off their PB pace, but again, like, still a solid run from them, you know, given the circumstances, so yeah. Alright, so Skyrage getting through this last part of the updraft section. Again, just feather, ride it up, hit the cloud. Yeah, they'll be going up to the last 5 flags of Summit here. But just a minor mistake there, just didn't quite get that wall jump, and yeah, kind of like accidentally fell into some spikes there, but again, recovering, getting on to flag 3.
Hello.
Yo, what's up?
Hey.
GG, man.
GG.
Good race.
GG.
Yo, thank you, dude.
Yeah, GG to you, Skyrage. So how are you feeling after that?
Pretty good, I guess. I'm a bit rusty since I got back from about a week and a half of vacation. So being like 1 hour behind, or 1 minute behind PB is actually not bad.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like, I think a lot of people have had like some layover since their last run, like either due to vacations or just because like there was that week break between races. So yeah, minute off PB,
Yeah.
that's really solid work. Yeah. So I don't know if you've been paying attention. Your next opponent is going to be Blue Eye 95. Do you know them at all? Are you looking forward to that race?
Haven't raced against them, but hopefully it'll be a good race to watch.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of talented runners still left here, and you know, you both put on like a really good show. Like, I don't think I've said this at all in the commentary yet, so be sure to follow the runners if you haven't already. They are both very talented. They both put a lot of work into this race. They both put a lot of effort into their runs. So yeah, put on a really good show for us. So yeah, GG to both of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And thanks to everybody involved with this tournament as well. Administration, everybody involved, thank you very much. Runners, watchers. You guys are awesome. Thanks for making this tournament possible.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you to Speed Gaming for hosting this tournament. Make sure that you're following Speed Gaming 2 through 6. So yeah, we do have a few more Celeste races for you tonight. So over on Speed Gaming 2, we got Sonic 33 Blaster versus M Sushi, so that's going to be a real fun watch if you want to get over there. And after that, we got Vital GL versus Value. We got Shuyaz versus Value. It's a Finnish name. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. Shuyaz versus Acres, and we got Ben Teasy versus Silverfist. So a lot of good races happening. Make sure that you're following up the channels. And yeah, thank you to the races again. Thank you to everyone for watching. I think we're just about wrapped up here. So any final thoughts?
To all watchers, have a nice day and continue to watch, I guess.
Yeah, definitely keep an eye out for more races tonight and more races this week.
Yeah, word. So yeah, everyone have a great night. Thank you for coming out.